Sports are, for all intents and purposes, entertainment. Ever since we first started seeing them on our screens, it was inevitable that we'd always find ways to start manipulating them like a screenplay. Watching modern sports can be an incredible experience, sure. Over 150 years of play, and on any given night, you can still see something you've never seen before. And make no mistake, modern sports are now changing to accommodate audiences who might be getting a little bored of the usual games. Take a look at Major League Baseball, for example, which recently added the pitch clock to speed up games. As a result, in spring training 2023, we got the first ever walk-off delay of a game. That's right, a game literally ended on an automatic strike call because the batter wasn't ready in time. Oof. It's a small oddity in a typically well-regarded sport. Something that's been happening since the beginning, even in the sports we all know and love. There have always been strange occurrences. Sports weren't always so weird, but there has always been weird in sports. As an example, let's look at the story of Rube Waddell. Rube is a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer who compiled a career earned run average of 2.16. If you're not a baseball fan, just know that that's very good. Despite that good ERA, he only won 193 games in his career. Slacker. For comparison, the all-time leader Cy Young, who has a damn award named after him, won 511. Major League rule states that you must pitch 5 innings or more of a 9-inning game to qualify to win. So perhaps Rube would have won more games if he hadn't been so fond of leaving before they were done. That's right, he just up and left. Rube really liked to go fishing and would just peace out. Now, this was back when pro sports weren't even a full-time paycheck, and guys had to have summer jobs just to get by. So it's understandable that you'd never see a man leave the middle of a game today, right? Well, almost never. But aside from oddities in sports, some sports themselves are a bit out there. The borderline unusual has always existed, and while you could argue that hitting a croquet mallet off a horse is strange, we've accepted it at this point. However, not as many people are familiar with Gaelic football. It's a blend of soccer, basketball, and rugby. Yes, you heard that right. It's played with a soccer ball, and you can dribble like a basketball, pick up and pass backwards to a teammate like rugby, and it's a set of goalposts that you kick through rugby style. The Irish may not find it strange for as long as they've been watching it, but if you're an American on vacation in Dublin for the first time and you turn on the TV and see this happening, you may be a bit confused about what you're watching. It's like a bunch of studio execs got together, picked the best part of every sport, and just fed it to ChatGPT. Of course, we could also discuss chasing a wheel of cheese down a hill, but is that really a sport? That's probably a debate for another video. Another odd variation on soccer is Rocket League. And we know, okay, before you say, well, that's a video game, that doesn't count, consider that there are people out there actually doing it. But you kinda had to expect it, for as popular as the game is, when LEGO wants in on the action, you know you're onto something. However weird sports may be now, the demand for these niche contests was enough to carry a TV program. For 37 years, from 1961 to 1997, ABC's Wide World of Sports was an entire program dedicated to the very niche medium of bringing you snippets of sports that maybe weren't quite strong enough to carry a Monday Night Football program of their own, although they damn well tried. Oh, we hope we get kickboxing from the Philippines. And speaking of the Philippines, there's a certain sepak takraw, a Philippine-beloved sport of volleyball where you can't use your hands. You can, however, use mostly your feet, even your head, and maybe your chest if you really need. But the traditional method of bump set spike with the hands is completely illegal. But we'd expect no less from a country that brought us one of the most unlikely champion boxers we've ever seen, who then wanted to become a senator and even run for president. That's an oddity in itself, and again, a topic for another video, perhaps. The fighting sports category overall seems to be the future of weird contests, but even they have roots grounded firmly in odd occurrences. Back in the year 1881, Wyatt Earp, yes, that Wyatt Earp, seemingly at random once stumbled into a job as a boxing referee. And while being an umpire is a hard gig, and sometimes the participants don't exactly agree with the calls, the one time I would probably suggest accepting the official's decision would be when it's Wyatt freaking Earp, but this fighter wasn't feeling that. When he was declared the loser in the bout, he put up an argument that led to old Sheriff Earp pulling a gun on him in the ring. So, the 1880s, guys. Gotta love them. Less contentious, but possibly more violent, just by sheer volume, was the 1893 fight between Andy Bowen and Jack Burke. Two fighters so evenly matched that neither could seem to outduel the other by even one punch. So much so that the match lasted 111 rounds before a clear winner could be determined. Burke was bedridden for 6 weeks after the fight, having broken every single bone in both hands. But again, those are odd occurrences, not odd sports. Much, much, much later, that's when things started to get a little weird. Enter the advent of chess boxing. Yes, chess boxing. We cannot, for the life of us, imagine what that pitch meeting was like, but there's no way it happened entirely sober. Mike Tyson can punch a man's face clean off. Chess masters can outsmart their opponent. And in some extremely rare cases, you may find a man who can do both, I guess? It's a sport that lives on to this day, but doesn't exactly garner a lot of popularity. Wonder why. Traditional boxing maintained its popularity thanks to dynamic figures like Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, and Mike Tyson. But after Tyson and Holyfield started to get older, there was a bit of a star void, and boxing's popularity started to wane. That's about when a man named Dana White entered and saw a particular opportunity. Why just punch when you can punch, kick, grapple, and leg whip? Mixed martial arts had already existed, but White took it to the masses, baby. But it's not really weird, so why bring it up at all? Well, because after 20 years of doing it, it seemed like even Dana was bored. So, like any good creator focused on ratings and audience retention, he took it a step further. Enter the UFC Slap League. No grappling, no punching, no moving at all. In fact, the less you move, the better. Just two bros, or gals in the original Poland, open hand slapping the hell out of each other and seeing who can take it better. It doesn't even need any setup. Why bother with pretense or even a story to warm up to? You just need a podium. No big ring involved. What's the opposite of slap fighting? Well, if you ask us, it's pillow fights. The Professional Pillow Fight League, we swear we're not making this stuff up, is exactly what it sounds like. You're probably not going to see a lot of knockouts in this one, but a girl can dream. What about modern medieval fighting? That probably has a better chance of someone getting actually injured. One sport you can't win by knockout is combat juggling? Really? Do we have that rate? We do? Okay, well, okay then. Combat juggling. Yeah, a sport where professional jugglers have to keep their pins in the air while trying to knock their competitors' pins out of their hands. And if that's not enough for you, why not try, well, okay, this actually looks more fun and frankly less ridiculous. Major League Tag. A twist on the old schoolyard favorite that gives you a set amount of time to catch your opponent and basically depends on which one of you is better at parkour. For all those kids who just never grew up. Parkour. It still remains to be seen what we'll be doing in the future. It may only be a few short years before we're rollerballing and death racing. Seems silly, sure, they're just movies. But Quidditch was a fake sport and people are doing that now, so who the hell knows at this point? We can easily imagine a room full of executives just throwing darts at a wall full of cards with just nouns on them, which of course results in, I'm sorry, you've got to be kidding me, balloon swords? Because why the hell not? Nothing matters anymore anyway, right? Kickboxing, where you walk on your hands, and if you fall down, you lose. They're breakdance fighting. Or just for fun, and because society is collapsing, exploding frisbee. Frisbee golf, but with landmines. Sign me the hell up if it means I don't have to experience this oversaturated market created from short attention spans and a lack of interest in committing to athletes' stories of their long careers. Guess we'll just have to wait and see, folks. If anyone needs me, I'll be in the dugout, looking for the Kool-Aid.